finally, all of these years of playing the viola is going to pay off for me, because from grade 4 upwards in ABRSM exams, they expect you to have an idea as to the viola clef. Now, if you've never played the viola, the alto clef, this sort of weird K-looking thing, it sort of looks like that and like that. This thing might be completely new, and you've never seen it before, and it's unfortunately a whole new clef to learn. Now, luckily for me, because I play the viola, I've been playing off this clef for years and years and years, so it's not a difficult thing for me to do. But in this question, they're asking us to use this alto clef so that it will sound exactly the same as the extract here. And I've got to include all of the normal stuff like the clef, the key signature, and the articulation, etc. Now, the thing to remember about the alto clef is that the middle line of the clef, that is middle C. Now, what's quite interesting here is we've got some of the music that's using the treble clef and some of the music that's using the bass clef, and so all of this music is above middle C, so that's going to be in the top half of the staff and probably off the top a little bit as well. And then there's this music down here which is, off the bottom of the staff, and that's using, the notes that would normally be in the bass clef. So we've got, quite an interesting challenge here to get this music looking right, and we've got to sort of stick with the normal conventions that we would do when writing out music. So we've got quite a lot of stuff to write out here. Look at all of these notes. We've got sextuplets and a septuplet here. Quite tricky to play, I guess. Not really. I mean, if you just count them through, but we don't need to worry about playing it here. All we need to worry about is making sure that the music, when someone plays this, sounds exactly the same as if they played it off the one at the top. Well, the first thing we need to do is, of course, include the key signature. We've done the clef already. That's this alto clef, and we have to use the alto clef because it's asked us for it up here. And we've got to start off by getting the key signature in there. Now, what key is this piece in? It's always good, I think, whenever you see a key signature, just to play the game. What is this key signature telling me? And, the circle of fifths, or your general knowledge of keys, would tell you that this piece is in either the key of B flat major or the key of G minor. Now, there's a few clues that suggest that it's probably in G minor, but in fact, we don't really need to go into that much detail worrying about that right now. All we've got to make sure is that when we write the notes in for this key signature, they are correct in terms of the alto clef. So I'm going to put these notes in. There's a B flat, and there's an E flat. And unfortunately, you just have to know that that's where they are. If you remember that the middle line of the alto clef is a C, then it makes sense that the space below that line will be a B. And so that's why this is our B flat. And then we've got this up here, which is two jumps from the middle line up from that C. So it's C, D, E, and that's our E flat. Okay, so let's see if we can get this first note in, because I think once we've got the first note in the score, then everything sort of falls into place after that. So we want to start off by writing in a G. Now, what G is this? This is the G above middle C, which means that we're going to want to make sure it's in the right place in terms of this staff. So middle C is here, it's the middle line. So we want to find the note that is a G, or 5 notes above that line. So if we count up from the middle line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll get to this top line, and that is the G, and it's exactly the same pitch as well, because it's the G above middle C. Now you might want to fast forward here, because I'm going to have to go through and laboriously write out a lot of these notes, and it might take me a while, so feel free to stay with me. I will talk through what I'm doing. So the thing is, because I play the viola, I just know what these notes are, but unfortunately, if you don't, if the alto clef is something that you just come to every now and again on a theory exam, unfortunately you're just going to have to work it out by sort of, using your knowledge of intervals could be quite useful. So for example, here we've got G to a B flat, and we see we've gone from a line to a line, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. I've gone from a line at the top here, which is the G, to the first ledger line, which will be our B flat, and then we need an A, which is the next note down, so that'll be the one that sits just above the top of the staff. And if we just use that kind of logic, we can, even without having a really great understanding or fluency with the alto clef, we can still quite easily get these things in place. Not completely easily. The interesting bit that's going to come up is when we have to shift from the bass clef. So if you shift from the treble clef for the first bar to the bass clef in the second bar. So let's see if I can get that far, and then I will be able to take you through and show you how I make that change in the score here. but for now I am just drawing in loads of notes. And this is a B flat, so this was the same as in our key signature. We need a B flat there, and then an E flat, which is also the same as our key signature. Then we've got a D, which is this line just above the middle line, and then we've got a B flat again, and then an F. You'll notice probably when you write out your version, it takes more space than the nicely printed version. That's quite usual, so don't worry too much about that. And then the G is this bottom line here. I might try and spread mine out so it takes up the whole line, and then a B natural. I'm not putting in the accidentals as I go, which might be a mistake, because it's always good to check. I've sort of got lost in ledger lines here, so that is middle C, that next note. So that needs to be on the middle line, and then a B, and then a G, and then an E, which is this bottom line here. Okay, so now I'm just going to try and draw in my stems as neatly as possible. Notice that the notes are going in the opposite direction. That's just because in this alto clef version they need to go that other way because the notes are high in the staff as opposed to being low in the staff, and that's quite normal. So you'll find that, you know, when you're writing it in one particular key or one particular clef, then the stems go one way, and then you get into the new clef and then you find that they need to go a different way, and you just need to sort of make those changes as you go. Again, apologies for my absolutely terrible, not ruled, not very neat thing. Interesting that we also changed where the 6 is and where the sort of the slur is. So the slur goes always over the note heads, and the 6 goes, so the sextuplet marking goes sort of near to the braces at the top of the, or in this case the bottom of the group of notes. I need to make a few changes here because this is going to be F sharp, and this is going to be A flat, so just need to put in a couple of accidentals for that group, and that's all good. We're getting to the point at which we might want to change direction. We will definitely need to for the next one. More above the middle line, so I'm going to go with down. You know, there's a few times we just got to use your kind of discretion really to get everything right. So the 6 goes there, slur goes over the top there, and we're saying here this is going to be an F natural because we used the F sharp here earlier in the bar. We're just going to need to make this F an F natural. So we're almost there now. I'm going to shift the direction of my stems in this one because more of my notes are in that downward direction. So put that in, and we're going to put in our 7 because this is a septuplet. There we go. And that means we're fitting 7 of these notes into the space of 4 normal semiquavers. So we're fitting in basically all of these notes into the space of 1 crotchet. That's what it means. And you'll see that makes sense because you see we've got four beats here essentially, and you're fitting 6 into the first beat, 6 into the second beat, 6 into the third beat, and then 7 into the next beat. So we're getting there. Going to go on to the next line now and do the next thing. Obviously, when we do a new line, we have to always do a new key signature and a new clef. Then we've got to write this thing now. We've changed to the bass clef. I imagine a lot of people will just not notice that and they'll sort of just carry on as if this was the treble clef, which would obviously be wrong. So we've got to be really careful to spot when they try and trick us with a change of clef or something like this. So now we've changed clef. What note is this? Well, this is a C. It's second space, all cows eat grass, and it's the C an octave below the middle C. And as a result, we need to find where this will live on our new clef, the alto clef. Now, if I said that this line here was the middle C, we need to go down a whole octave, so down through the lines and spaces until we get to here. If you counted down to this note, the first note underneath the first ledger line, you'll find that that is a C, and that actually turns out to be the bottom note on a viola. So if you wanted to write any lower than that for the viola, you just wouldn't be able to because the instrument just can't play those notes. That's the bottom string. So we've got to put in all of these notes. So that's an E flat and a G flat, then a A, just the line there, and then a C, so the middle line of our stuff, then a D, and then an E, and then a G flat, and then an F, and then an E, and then a D, which is a minim. So do that like that, and we've got our trill on that note. And then we've got to just get in this rhythm here, which is quite a complex rhythm, I guess, because all of these are kind of connected up. And then we can have that going that way. So that's good. And then we're going to bar across all of these to start with. And then these two, these are like that. So those are like that. And then we need 3 across these last 4. And 3 across these 2. And I think that will give us the same rhythm as it does up there. Yes, it does. That's great. And we need our slur. Show those are slurred. And then we need our writ. It's getting a bit stuck for space. And then we need our accidental, so we just need our G flat. G flat there. Our A natural. And that's interesting because I'm wondering why we've got an A natural in there. I suppose it's because we had some A flats in the previous bar. Technically it doesn't need to be there, but I'm guessing it's there just for, you know, be 100% clear. Try and draw that in a bit better. There's our A natural. And then at the top of this arpeggio we've got a G flat. And that is the G above middle C. And that makes sense because here it's the G above our middle line. So I'm pretty hopeful that if we just put in our sforzando marking here, that is a pretty good rendition of the extract written above but written out to be played maybe on a viola. That might be quite likely. But it does sound exactly the same. It's at the same pitch. Great, so moving on to the next bit, it asks us the meaning of a few things. So, oh, well, what a good job I spotted that question. That we forgot our little diminuendo hairpin up here. After we added that in, we can answer these questions. So writ just means slow down. Slow down in tempo maybe, just to be very clear what we mean. This is get quieter again. Say diminuendo. And this is a trill, which is telling us to alternate quickly with the note above. Great, and then name an orchestral instrument which uses the alto clef. Well, I've mentioned it about 25 times. It is the best of the string instruments, the viola. And that completes question 2. Hopefully that wasn't too scary. I'll see you in question 3.